Hello everybody and welcome to Bob's Garden. I'm Bob. We're here in the early spring to teach you about pruning. This is part of our series called The Taming of the Shrub, which I'm going to show you how to prune various types of shrubs. And today we're going to do Cornus species. Cornus are dogwoods, and there's all different types, but they're all treated the same way when they're shrubs like this. So we have two cultivars here. One is called Buds Yellow, so this is Cornus alba Buds Yellow. And we also have Cornus alba Elegantissima. Now there's a Cornus sericea, which is the native type of this dogwood, but they're all going to be pruned the same way. Before we start any pruning project, we always want to be in the right frame of mind before we prune. If you're angry about something, you've had a bad day, and you just feel like chopping something, don't go out and prune. We have to be able to concentrate on the task at hand. And always in any kind of pruning project, you pick a particular task to do first. So like say our first task would be to get rid of dead wood. You just concentrate on all the dead wood. And then you move on to shaping, and then we go from there. So our goal with this pruning project is to reduce the size of this with these heading cuts here. And if we don't do that, what happens is we get color down here that's gray color. It loses its red color. So we don't prune this hard. If we don't prune this hard, then we're going to lose this color. So you can see here we've taken it down by 50%. And our goal with this framework is to get this in a shape that allows the current year's growth to come up with these nice fine twigs. And then we'll also, later in the season, we'll give it another summer haircut in midsummer.
So I wanted to show you this slide as to what happens with the Cornus alba after we prune it. Now you notice that we pruned it down to between 2.5, 3 feet, not more than that. And by the summer solstice, these will have grown to anywhere between 6 and 7 feet. They put out a lot of growth from that pruning, and because of that framework we showed you, it's nice and tight and open with a lot of air circulation in here. And now we'll bring this down to a height of about 5 feet through here, give these some shape, each individual one. You'll notice that they get a nice foliage here, very inconspicuous flowers. We don't really grow it for that. But all these are the red twig dogwoods in here, and here through here is the yellow twig dogwoods.
So you want to have proper tools for this. You should have some loppers, because sometimes we do have to cut right through these heavy woods like this. And we'll need our folding saw, the Felco folding saw. And we have our Felco number 2 bypass pruners. And we even have a sharpener with them. Like our pocket. And we just take this and run it along the fat blade like this. It's already angled, so you don't have to worry about that. Then we'll just take the burrs off on the other side, and we're all set with that. So here we can see the cuts I made last season in here, this browning in here. And this is where we're going to take this down. This is where we're going to start at this level. So whenever you do a pruning project, you come in the first of the season, study your cuts from the previous season and see how they came out, and study this. And that'll give you a clue as how well you're doing with this. So we want to come down to a level here, and we can just take this down. You don't have to do it as fast as I'm doing it. And here's some dead wood in here. Take that out. These will bud back along the entire area in here, so we don't need to worry about where we're cutting. There are places like here where you'll see this little ridge. That's a good spot to cut too. And you can see here, this change in color here. This is not even a yellow twig dogwood. This is some kind of cherry that's grown up in between here, and we'll dig that out later. Now you can see here, here's a lot of deadwood right here and here, and also lost color all the way down here. When we first came on this property, that color was all the way up into this area here. See, right here. And that's because they weren't pruned. They were neglected over a long time. So we can just take that out entirely. Cut it right down to the ground. Now, if I didn't have any others that were good like this, I would have left that in and just cut it down as hard as I could. And this is done in very early spring. And we have another cherry tree growing up here. And we're leaving behind this framework from which we get this very twiggy growth. Taking it down by at least half. And see, this is in a bad position here. It's congested, so we can take that treatment. Every single one of these is going to present with a different challenge, different problem. So you have to be thinking about what you're doing. It's not an automatic thing from one shrub to the next. You move on. The next shrub may have dead wood all the way down like this, and may have a different shape to it. So every single one is going to be a little different. Fine ones, cut back fine ones too. Use the dead ones. Cut. Sometimes you cut in the middle, like this. And this is the framework from which the current season's growth is going to come. And we've taken it down by half. Get these ones in a bad place. This is dead. This is dead. Got this down here. Bad position. Coming straight out. This one here does angle up, so we can use that. Once you start doing this, don't be afraid. Get in here and do this. Because it's healthy for the tree. If you don't do it, it's going to lose all its color, like this one here. I could probably take this one out. I really don't need it, but I'll leave it in for now. Sometimes later on in the spring, before they bud out, I'll come back and I'll go over it again a little bit, just to be sure that everything's okay. But I'd probably take this one out. It's kind of like in a bad place, off to the side. But I need to think about that. I don't do it right away. I might come back another time after I thought about it. And again, I usually don't work this quickly, but I want you to get the general idea here. This is, see here, how it's changed color. So we'll cut that down about half. Here's a bud right here. So we can just cut a little bit above that. And that looks pretty good. This little thing here, move back. And don't worry about this. It's all going to come up like over here. This size, it'll all come up, and it even gets higher than this. So all this from this framework, this was last year. Here was the framework. And all this growth came up in one season. These are grown mainly for their color. It has a winter interest. It's a really terrific plant to have in the garden. And it's an accent plant, and it's got the color, so it stays up all winter long. And in the early spring, then we just take these back to the same kind of framework. And sometimes we do have to do parts of the framework. This is the framework of all the current year's growth. So I'm Bob. Thank you for watching. Share my videos. Give me some comments. And remember, be curious, not judgmental.